It is December 23rd, and I am doing my reading wrap up a bit early because I don't know when I'm going to have time to, and also I have a lot of things that I need to get done, but I can talk about the books that I've read this month while I fiddle around. So as long as it doesn't bother you, then I'm going to be looking down here because I have to cut out pictures that I printed off at work. I need to stop looking at myself in that I'm cutting out pictures that I printed at work with with the company printer. um I'm gonna talk about the books I read, and then if I'm still talking about the books I read, I'm gonna wrap some presents. So I hope you enjoy this. I had a majorly slow reading month this month. I think that 18 books, but which is slower for me. I usually read like a book a day, but I've been working on some projects, and one day I'll finish one of them. So that's good. Okay, I need to close this image of my face so that I stop looking at it. If you hear munching, it's my dog. If you hear snipping, it's me cutting out paper. So the first book this month that I read is Whale Fall by Daniel Kraus. This is a 5-star read for me. I'll just go ahead and say that. It was a bop. It was so good, and I think that it maybe hit, well, so it's a book about a boy slash man, he's like 18, who he gets stuck in a whale. Questions? He is going deep sea diving because his father has died, and his father was also a deep sea diver, and he's going to you learn this over the course of the book, but he's going to the coordinates where his father jumped because his father killed himself because he had cancer. And while he's in the whale, he's kind of like dealing with just the loss of his father, and also that like their relationship was different than he thought. It's just really good, and I think as a fatherless person, because my dad is also DEAD, it really hit for me, because especially since it was fairly recent for me as well, like within a year and a half. So I think that it was prescient for me personally, but it was also like when I finished it, I wanted to read more books like that because it's like supposed to be technically like a scientifically accurate. Everything that happens is what would happen were you swallowed by a sperm whale. So I just found it so interesting, and it was like genuinely thrilling. It is a thriller technically, but God, it was just so good, and I like wanted to tell everyone about it immediately, and that doesn't happen to me very often. I am rare on the 5-star reads, so this was a big month for me personally. Yeah, I fuck with Whale Fall so heavily. I literally bought it for as a Christmas gift for my aunt. Yeah, not much more to say. Next book that I read, just complete tone shift, was Dead Man Walking by Gianna Darling. So this is the 5th book, don't quote me on that, in the Fallen Men series. It is an MC motorcycle club series. So if that's not your thing, probably not gonna care about this. It is also technically a dark romance. So this book follows Priest and B. Priest is the enforcer for the motorcycle club, and B is the sister of the motorcycle club president's wife, who their love story is in book 2. B is like, she's like sunshine, frilly girl, virgin. She's wearing pink all the time, and she's a good Christian. She's a good Christian girl, but she's just like fascinated with this man this man who just commits murder and is maybe a sociopath slash psychopath. This was honestly enjoyable in that I did believe the romance, because I think that that man would fully drag his balls through 3 miles of broken glass just to have her give him, like, I don't know, probably maybe like a beach. No. I did believe that he genuinely really cared for her. I do find it a little bit trite when it's like, he's a psychopath, he's a sociopath, but he loves me, and he also doesn't know what love is. I think that Gianna Darling does a really good job on outlaw characters, a like interesting backstory, which is what a romance book should do. But sometimes they don't. And you find out about Priest and like why he is the way that he is, and it's some shit that it's always gonna get me. And also, just the absolute bug fuck, like, I don't want to say B plot because it is technically I feel like technically it's a romantic suspense, but there's also like someone fully murdering people in the town of Entrance, British Columbia. It's also Canadian, which to me feels like fun because I live in America. And for some reason, anytime I read a book that takes place in Canada, it's like a fantasy realm. They have healthcare. But it's like, I don't know. They have healthcare and Tim Hortons, which is so good. Anyways. Other plot line the main plot aside from the romance aspect is just fucking insane. I did guess the twist immediately, but it was so fun. And I think that Gianna Darling also does a really, really good job of making the, like, suspense slash thriller plot lines in her books really interesting and gripping. I liked it. It was like 3.5-star read for me, just because I probably won't read it again. And I think that I would probably read Good Gone Bad again. ACAB, except for Lionel Danner. Okay. He's Not My Type by Megan Quinn. This is the third book in the Vancouver Agitators series, and bitch, I think that this has been teased since the second book, those 3 little words, where we meet Penny and her bestie Blakely, who is the heroine in this book. And everybody kind of knows that, what's his name? Halsey. His name's Halsey.
Where are you? And I'm so sorry. I cannot sleep, cannot dream tonight. I need somebody in always. A sick, strange darkness.
He immediately like had a huge crush on her, and you get more info into that. To make a long story short, she had a long-term boyfriend and they just broke up. One of his boys on the team finds out and fucking books it to go tell Halsey that Blakely is single. He needs to make a move expeditiously. And he's like really shy and quiet. And he's dealing with a lot. He has a lot of anxiety and trauma, guilt because his twin brother died. And that's a whole other thing. Put that away for now and maybe forever. But his best friends basically wingman him into having her stay with him because her apartment flooded. She moved out of her boyfriend's apartment and moved into some like ramshackle hovel that flooded. So they like volunteer Halsey to take her in, and she's like, okay. And basically they just go from like just like no one's here. Just like roommates to friends to lovers. I found it really, really sweet and endearing, and I really, really loved the hero in the book. I just thought that it was a fun, sweet time, and the thing about Megan Quinn for me is that she almost never flops for me. Aside from randomly the 2 first books I ever read by her, she never flops for me, and I know that even if it's not like the best book I've read, even if it's not, you know, like top tier, gonna be one of my faves, it is gonna be a fun time. And I think she did a really good job in this book of like making me see their relationship building. I just thought it was a really good book. So we're like 3 for 3 this month. So that's that rocks objectively for me. Okay. Next I read, but it's gonna go downhill. It sure will. Next I read God of Fury by Rena Kent. This is her first male romance, and this is the fourth book in the Legacy of Gods series. Now, these are dark romance. Rena Kent does this thing that's like, her books are, I think that every book that I've ever read by her is a 3-star or lower, and I just keep reading them because they're always so insane. If you don't fuck with like non-con, dub-con, stuff like that, Rena Kent is not for you. But also there is always a villain who gives a villain monologue. And I think that it's so fucking funny. Every single book that I've read by her, without fail, has a villain who gives a villain monologue. That's like, and I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. Like, it's so crazy. And they're a little bit schlocky, maybe, but I always have a fun time. Are they unhinged? Would I like, if any of my friends were in a relationship such as anything by Rena Kent, I would immediately have an intervention. However, it's fiction and it's a fun time and it's unhinged. Also, for the longest time, I thought that Rena Kent was like not British. A lot of her books take place in England, including this series takes place on like some island between England and America. I don't know. Some take place in America, some take place in England, but I thought that she was like not actually British because of the amount of times that people say blimey. I just didn't think that people were saying blimey like that. So I think that, and I do think that she is actually British, but don't quote me on that. At the end of the day, I haven't even said anything about what the book is about. So it follows Nikolai, who is bisexual, and Landon, who is the brother of two of the other characters who are in other books. Oh, sorry, it's book 5 in the series also. He's got some like, he's just a little bit weird. He's a little standoffish. He's like, I don't know how to describe him, but he's got a lot of shit going on upstairs. And Nikolai is crazy. He's insane. I don't mean crazy in like a mentally ill crazy. I mean like in a, he's deeply unhinged, unrelated to his mental illness, which I do believe that he has BPD or bipolar. I'm not entirely sure. He has something, but going off the cuff for these is not my best move, but you know what? We live and we learn. It was kind of just like middle of the road for me. I did enjoy it and I found some parts sweet, and I do really like an insane character as a love interest, specifically like that particular brand of like, maybe he's a psychopath, but he's real funny with it. He's a little goofy with it. I do enjoy that. Like I said, Rena Kent is never going to be a 5-star read for me personally. That's just, but it is an enjoyable time. And I think that it's really hard for me to rate books like that because that is a lot of the books I read. Is it, groundbreaking, life-changing? No, but it's a fun time and it's unhinged. And I think that if you are looking for a fun time with a gay romance, go for it. I will say that this series is all children of characters from previous books, and usually once per book there's like a POV chapter with like one of the parents' POVs, and I do not fuck with that shit. I hate suspending my disbelief that only 3 new iPhones have been released between the parents meeting and falling in love and these adult children being grown and falling in love. That's my beef. I don't like that. I don't like second generation series. I'm still read it, but I don't like it. Okay. Bitch. I'm gonna talk about this book. So the next book that I read is The Lovely Return by Carrie Ann Cole. Now, I have not had much luck with Carrie Ann Cole in the past. I read Torn, and I think I DNF'd at like 70% or so. I found it like kind of gross, and it just wasn't for me. I'm not easily squicked out, but something about it just like I did not fuck with it. Anyways, so this book, what's this book about, you ask? Oh, it's about a guy whose wife tragically passes away on the way to the hospital to give birth to their child. And, you know, he makes a wish as he's waiting for an ambulance to come, you know, retrieve him. She's fucking dying. He makes a wish that she doesn't leave him, comes back, whatever. And then we get a different POV. POV's character's name's Laura. Who the fuck is Laura? Laura is the mother of a 5-year-old named Penny. And Penny is a very odd child who just stares out the window all day and talks about how much she misses her husband and her family. Pardon? One day, Penny wanders off out of the house and finds herself at a dude's house. What's his name? Matt? His name's Alex. He finds herself at old dude's house, Alex, and he's a sculptor. He makes sculptures out of trash. I feel like that's such a common... I don't know if it's exactly common, however, I do think that, like, anytime there is a sculptor character in a book or TV show or movie, it's, like, a guy who makes shit out of repurposed trash. Weird. Okay. Anyways, I really hope you can't hear her. She cannot be stopped at the moment. Anyways, she wanders in, and he's fucking half in the bottle and talking to hallucinations of his dead wife. And little Penny walks in, she little trots in, and she's like, "Hello, mister. What you doing?" He's like, "Where the fuck did you come from?" But he slurs his words because he's drunk up his ass. And she's like, "I used to live here." He's like, anyways, the story progresses. They become friends. The mom, she's always kind of known that her kid is kind of weird. And we don't get Penny POV until she's like 16. So we get like little chunks of Alex and Penny. Laura has to like do something, and he's also really, I'm not gonna get into it. He also has a dog who like Penny's really close to. Her name's Cherry Pop. It was his wife's dog, his tragically deceased wife, his wife. May she rest. They strike up a friendship, which is a little bit weird. And then when she's like 12, his friends are like, "Dude, you cannot be hanging out with like an almost teenage girl. It looks really weird." And he's like, "I guess." They're right. It does look weird. I'll say this. They are right. It does look weird. However, Penny is like a weird kid, and he's kind of like her only friend. So it's kind of shitty that... No more. I'm of two minds about it because it is kind of shitty for him to be like, "I don't want to hang out with you anymore because I don't want people to think I'm weird." Schmile. But also, like, I understand it. And also where this story goes, it does make sense. So, this book I think just has like way too many moving parts. We have like the paranormal aspect of like, is she actually his reincarnated wife? I hope not. That's what I was thinking. I was like, I hope not. I hope she's a whole other person. It gets fucking weird. Like, it gets so unhinged. Like, and I mean that in the most pejorative way that I can. It's not unhinged in a fun way. It was unhinged in like, this book is pissing me off, but I need to finish it to see where the hell this goes and how we wrap this up. Penny becomes friends with his daughter, and that's how they reconnect. His daughter did not die in the car crash, spoiler, and so this becomes like a best friend's dad thing. So she lives with them for a while because her parents moved to California. She has some sort of fucking mental breakdown and says something about being his wife. She's like having a seizure or some shit and gets sent to a fucking intensive mental health care unit where they put her on pills, and it gets really weird about like prescription meds for mental illness. And I know that within the canon of the story, she is technically not mentally ill because we are meant to believe that she is actually the reincarnation of this man's wife, but in the real world, she should be on some sort of medication and in intensive therapy. Be fucking for real. I couldn't take it seriously. It was so unserious to me and so serious in tone that it felt like, I cannot explain to you the just like clusterfuck that this book was. Like, I genuinely, if you want something like to just knock your socks off of how like confusing and weird it is, read The Lovely Return by Carrie Ann Cole. That's what I have to say. This is a 1-star read, but it was a 1-star read in a way that was like so fucking heinous that I want to force everyone to read it. So that was book number 5, I think. Next I read Antichrist by Amo Jones. I liked Sicko. Like, I do enjoy a dark romance on occasion. I know a lot of people don't. And I would like to say that I do not fuck with any of those themes in real life, but I do fuck with them in a fictional setting. I was kind of like in the mood for something messy. This guy left this girl to do so. I honestly don't even want to talk about this book. It's like 2 stars, maybe. It was not very good. Hold on. It's kind of like MC adjacent. It takes place in allegedly America, but the author lives in New Zealand, and I don't know if she's from America. And she very well might be, and it just might be like my like interpretation of it, but it does like feel just a little bit off. I think that it's really difficult for someone to write about a place that they do not live, like how Colleen Hoover writes about like the Big Apple. Okay. It was just like bad. It was like gratuitous cheating. There was like some sort of assassin plotline. I just didn't fuck with it, and I think that maybe like it was just it was a touch too traumatic for me. Or like, and like, I don't really want to feel like I'm, or like reading a Instagram caption, our twin flames, 2 souls. Like, that's just not my bag. It's just not, and that's fine. But this was a 2-star read for me. So next book, I think I'm gonna say like 3.5 stars. Yours Actually by Nina Levine. Heidi. It's on KU. Best Friends to Lovers. Basically, this guy fucks anything in a skirt, and he's never had a relationship. He's got commitment issues. He's got daddy issues. Girly Pop is a relationship girly. What's her name and what's his name? Callan and Olivia. So basically they go to a wedding separately with separate dates, and someone casually mentions to Callan, like, I can't believe you guys are like just friends, like, she's so pretty or something like that. And he's like, why would you say that? And so he just starts thinking about her in like a sexual way, and like noticing that he's really attracted to her. And then he like keeps that to himself to like see if it goes away, and it doesn't. And just as the story progresses, he realizes that he cares for her in a not only sexual but also romantic way. And this is a problem because he has never had a relationship in his one human life. And yeah, they're just like really cute best friends to lovers vibes that I enjoy personally. And also this book introduced me to the concept of highlining, which is slacklining but up very high, and I almost threw up thinking about it. So this is a 3.5 star for me. It's middle of the road, but it was on the better end of middle of the road, so 3.5 stars. Next, I read Nightfall by Penelope Douglas. I usually devour series, just one right after the other. I've been like taking my sweet time with Devil's Night series. I think I read first and second one a year or so ago. I read the third one on 4th of July. And this one, it's December. So this is Will and Emery's book, and I really liked it. I think it's my favorite book of all of the books. I fucked with it so hard, and I didn't think that I would, because I thought that Will was just like a flop throughout all of the other books. But basically, this takes place a year after events of the one before this, Hideaway. I honestly don't remember. It's really hard for me to keep short book titles that are in a series. It's hard for me to keep them straight in my head. So basically, our boy Will is at this sort of prison for rich boys because you can't have your fucking, you can't have the president's son out there being a fucking news, well, I guess, Hunter Biden notwithstanding, whatever. You can't have, like, a prominent politician's kid or, like, you know, something like that's out in the public eye acting like a fool or like being a criminal, but you also can't, you know, have them taken care of via the law because, one, rich people are above the law. We know this to be true via everything around us. And two, it's like, even if you do have like some sort of moral compass where you're like, okay, you are a fucking menace and you need to be like, you have to have some sort of consequence for your actions. You can't like turn them in without it reflecting badly on you as a prominent figure. So, Black Church is where they send the bad boys. A fucking mansion, no one knows where it is, location unknown, like, it is like Lord of the Flies with like rich boy sociopaths. And somehow Emery gets fucking dropped off there. And nobody knows how she got there. She doesn't know how she got there. She was drugged or something. Whacked over the head. I don't remember. And she is like, is told in a dual timeline, as all of these books are. We get the relationship now, and we get the events leading up to Devil's Night, Year Unknown, 9 years ago in this book. I really enjoyed this book. I thought that it was really good. I'm gonna give it a 4 stars. 4 stars. Stop. Next, I read What He Doesn't Know and What He Always Knew by Candy Steiner. It's a duet. It is a love triangle / marriage in trouble book. A woman who, her name is Charlie, and her husband have just like drifted apart over the last 5 or so years after losing their twin boys. One of them was stillborn and the other one lived for like, I think like 9 days. And they've just been like drifting apart. He's been like working and he doesn't talk about his feelings, and she's like fucking drowning and suffering. And lo and behold, somebody comes back to town, the man that her brother's best friend, who she had the biggest fucking crush on, Reese. His name's Reese. Her brother's best friend from high school comes and he works at the school that she teaches kindergarten at. He is a piano teacher. And he like makes her feel desired, wanted. And there's a lot of cheating in this book. And she decides that she's going to leave Cameron. Cameron's like, oh, look, I know I've been a shitty husband. I realize that now. However, you know, he's been back in your life for 2 months, so just give me 2 months to convince you. And so it's a love triangle literally until the end of the second book. So I won't spoil the choosy. But it's really good, like 4 stars probably. It's very angsty, and also like, I don't mind cheating in romance books as long as it's the woman who's cheating. I'm so sorry. Maybe I am a misandrist, perhaps, but I believe in women's wrongs, and I feel like my feelings on the matter, but like I feel like men who cheat are probably going to cheat more than once. I feel like women who cheat do it situationally, such as you gave birth to a stillborn child and had the other one die, and your husband fucking sucks at talking. So, what I was getting at is that I don't mind. I know that a lot of people don't like cheating in books, in romance books, but I think that sometimes it's fun for the drama, because when it comes down to it, I am a bitch who loves drama. I love a messy, angsty story. And that's what this was. It was a good time. It wasn't a good time, but, not, it was a good time, but not in the, like, funny, haha. It was a good time in, like, a nail biter. Okay. Next, I read Same Time Next Year by Tessa Bailey. It is a New Year's novella. You got the usual suspects in a Tessa Bailey novel. You got a big fucking growly, dirty talking man. This one, he's a hockey player. His name is Sumner. Okay. And her name is Willa? Britta. Close. Same vibe. Her name is Britta, and it takes place on New Year's Eve 2023. New Year's 2023, and she's a waitress at the bar that the hockey players frequent, and her half brother is also a player on the team. And okay. And Sumner is about to it's also a AHL team, which is like the minor league version of the NHL. So he is he's about to get deported back to Canada. And if he gets deported, he's none of the teams in Canada have openings, and he's going to lose a shot at getting into the NHL. What does he need? What do you need when you're getting deported back to Canada? A wife. Yeah. So him and Britta get married, and he's been in with her since the moment he laid eyes on her. She knows that and does like him and think that he's sweet, but she is not a relationship girly. She has commitment issues. She's got daddy issues. So she's like, okay, Sumner, I will marry you because I think that you deserve your shot, but they can't be more than that, okay? However, the book takes place over the course of a year. They decide that they're going to be together for a year and get a divorce same time next year. Title of the book. Basically, it's their relationship developing over the course of the year. It was a fun time. I liked it better. I think that it would have been, honestly, a really, really good, full-length novel. And I think that would have liked it more than Wreck the Halls. So, yeah, I think 4 stars. Tessa Bailey is really hit or miss for me because I think that she writes smut like nobody's fucking business. And sometimes it's not romance that falls flat for me in some of her books. It's usually the guy. Sometimes she writes a male main character that I, just don't really fuck with. And, okay. So, I read a few more books this month, but I am going to talk about them in another video that is going to take me a long time to finish. So, we move on. An idiot. Yay. So that is my December reading wrap up. I talked about 11 books, 10 books in a novella. Like I said, I did read more than that this month, but I'm going to talk about those in other videos, so keep an eye out for that. And I hope you enjoyed this. My overhead light in my room is broken, and I have the world's shittiest windows, and it gets dark at 5 p.m. So if the lighting is really bad, I know I'm doing my best. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I look forward to doing this going forward. A bit new to BookTube. However, I like to talk about the books that I read, and I read a lot. So, yeah, I hope that you enjoy this, and I hope you have a good day and a good rest of the year.